All right, thank you, Sierra. We are well into the first full week since the amended Safer at Home order took effect. So here are some of the key areas key leaders are tracking to make sure that we collectively lower the spread of coronavirus.
Let's get into that right now. Joining us now live via Zoom is one of the members of the state coronavirus task force, Athens Mayor Ronnie Marks. It joins us again on Way 31 Morning News. Mayor Marks, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Any kind of initial reporting that shows how well our area is doing as a whole as more and more businesses are opening up?
Well, I think overall we're doing well. I know that Madison County is, the percentages are very low with the number of tests. And Limestone County is, I think, running about 3.5%. However, it is, as most people have commented on, you've commented earlier, it's time to really be cautious. I think you saw yesterday's numbers. There were almost 500 new cases across the state with close to 15,000 cases, 14,986, somewhere in that neighborhood. But it's a time to really be cautious. I know that Governor and Dr. Scott Harris has opened up more of the facilities, and there's a time when we have to open up, I think, because of the economy. However, in my opinion, and for the city of Athens, the Parks and Recreation, I have a meeting with all of our staff members here in just a couple of hours, and they're very nervous about having so many kids and young people out in the ballparks, and so am I. So we're going to be slow, we're going to be deliberate, and we're going to take every precaution that we can to encourage, again, social distancing and sanitizing as much as possible. This is far from being over, and when we see these numbers, I get concerned for our citizens.
And Mayor Marks, I want to address those numbers. You know, the health department saying that those numbers could date as far back as positive cases from 6 weeks ago. How frustrating is it from your standpoint that these numbers aren't in real time and it's kind of hard to really get a full grasp as to where we stand as a state from the health department?
Yeah, it is a little frustrating. There's some way that we need to, at least in my opinion, eliminate the numbers of people that have recovered. And we know that's a pretty large number. However, I don't exactly know what recovery is, and all of those tests have not been run. So I know this is a cumulative number because more tests are being run, more numbers are showing up. But I think there should be a way that the health department, the state, even that we take off numbers that we know that have recovered. I think that's in the neighborhood, of about 8,000 maybe?
Yeah. 7951. Yep.
Pardon?
7,951.
Yeah, well, pretty close. Yeah.
Yep.
And if you do take that number off, then we're sitting at what, 7,000 cases or close to that out of the 15,000. But it still is alarming enough that people need to be cautious. This is real. I said to a friend of mine, he kind of jumped on me saying this is all silly. And I said, well, it's not if it affects your family. And if you talk to the people that are coming out of the hospital, I can assure you they don't think this is something not to be taken very serious.
You know, that's an excellent point you make, Mr. Mayor. And we know that you're on that task force. We've got about 40 seconds left to go here. Take us behind the scenes very quickly. The most critical areas that you folks are looking at on that task force regarding the state's response and the next steps ahead.
Yeah, I think it's our senior citizens. When do we look at opening? When do we have more tests? I know that we have had a test here where Councilman Frank Travis and Athens Hospital and the Huntsville Hospital worked together to have a community testing at one of our African American churches. Had about 250 cases, and they were lined up in the streets. People are concerned. The senior citizens are very concerned, and they feel almost imprisoned that they have not been able to get out. But it's for their benefit and for the citizens around them. I think the next step will be very carefully to open up, and I know people are chomping at the bits to have kids on the ball fields, but we have to be very serious on these next steps and very cautious and slow. Sorry that we're running out of time, but I just am optimistic that we will handle this and get through it, but we still have to be very careful.
Thanks for the new information this morning and the education too, Mr. Mayor. It's always important to have folks like you on, and we appreciate your expertise as well. We need to have you back on sooner than later. Mayor Ronnie Marks, thanks so much for joining us on Way 31 Morning News.
Thank you much. Take care.
Thank you, you too. Time now is 6:11 on your Tuesday morning.